no light entertainment.
Following is a conversation with the King of Hell, Monsieur 666 himself. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
King of Hell. King of Hell, I'm back. Monsieur 666, the number of the beast. It is a
Can you
human
hear
number.
me?
Hey, now. Yes, I can.
Okay, good. I'm gonna adjust myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man,
couldn't hear you a
it's
minute ago.
fucking hot here.
Is it?
It's 95 degrees. Your mic is kind of muffled. I don't know if it's me or I'm trying to see.
Is it? Okay, let me double check. Hold on. Give me a second.
Sounds like it's being covered. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm using the blue one. I'm using one of these Bluetooth headsets. Is it any better now? Is it any better now? A little
Yeah,
bit?
it's a
Not
little
really.
better. I think it's my phone, maybe.
Yeah, it might not be. I'm using a Bluetooth headset, which is not as good as like my standard mic. So how's it going, man? What have you been up to? How's your summer going? Did you do
Mm.
anything for the soul?
Nah, I did not. Nah, I didn't. I didn't. But yesterday was the solstice for me.
Yeah, I did. I had a little bit of spirit wine and I went out and burned some spirit money and I made a sacrifice to the devil and yeah, I had some good fun. So with the Scholar Warrior program, if you've been keeping up, I've been reading Lao Tzu's Wenzu or Understanding the Mysteries. You might need to reconnect, King of Hell. I can no longer hear you. I don't know if you're not talking or if, yeah. King of Hell, guys, technical difficulties. We're on chapter 83 of One Zoo's Understanding the Mysteries. If King of Hell comes back, I'll bring him right back on, guys. Lao Tzu said, to cling to the laws of one generation and thereby repudiate customs transmitted through the ages is like trying to tune a lute with the movable tuning bridge glued down. Sages adapt to the changes of the times, taking appropriate measures on seeing how things form. Yeah, so remember, guys, Taoism is all about adaptation. King of Hell, welcome back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right, just give me a second. I'm gonna pull over here.
Yeah, take your time, man. Do your thing. Yeah, don't do anything dangerous. Uh, Chapter 83 of 17 by Thomas Query, a challenge that you have to adapt to changing times. You can't just hold on to all the old customs and rules of the past. You got to move with times, baby. Get with it. Get with the bigger picture. Oh no, internet's come out, man. Crock of shit. Everything they can prevent tonight's show from happening.
Hello?
There you go. Yeah, now you're back.
Word. Okay, good.
Yeah, your
Okay,
mic
good.
was muted. Yeah. Did you pull over?
Yeah, I'm in a better spot now where it should be okay.
Okay, good. Good to hear. Yeah, so I was asking you, how's your summer going, man? What have you been up to? What's happening out in the land of the Jersey Devil?
Yeah, man. So I graduated from college, and I just work now. I don't have like a real job. I have a job, but it's not like a real career. Um, and yeah, I actually have a story to tell. Uh, I don't know. It's just interesting. But
Yeah, tell me what's going on. What's happening?
yeah, it's kind of
Give me
hard
a
to
breakdown.
explain. But
And where, why?
essentially, I'm sorry. But essentially, my mom is she's a she's a drug addict, and uh, she's been a drug addict my whole life. I don't know if anyone here really knows about that stuff, but the last few years it got really bad, and she ended up being homeless for a while.
Okay.
And about 3 years ago, um, I used to have this friend, and he calls me one day. This was 3 years ago. And I had this friend 3 years ago. He called me. There was a dog on the street he found. It was a pit bull, and I took the dog in, and I called my mother, who I did not live with at the time, and I asked her if she wanted this dog, and she took it. And at the time, she wasn't homeless. She was on drugs, but she was stable. She had a pretty nice house. It was a townhouse. Anyway, so the dog lived there for 3 years, and then she lived out of her car, and she was smoking meth. And when you smoke meth, you get like very paranoid, but it goes beyond paranoia and more into like psychosis and delusion.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I've known people that have been meth heads. Not a good
yeah,
scene.
yeah. So she would just like smoke meth and like live out of like do all this crazy shit. And the cops, I live in a pretty small town, so the cops like know me. They know my mother, blah blah blah. And we had like probably like a handful of encounters with them, like the encounters with the police involving my mother. But anyway, so the dog ended up getting stuck with me at my grandmom's house, and it can't live with me because it's very aggressive, and my grandmom can't take care of the dog. It's like very big, and like he'll get off the leash when she walks him and all this shit. So anyway, yeah, I gotta put the dog down, and you know, I'm only 23 years old, so a lot of people are like, why are you doing this? Why are you involved? But I'm involved with it. And yes, the dog is perfectly healthy. It's fine. I tried to have it adopted. We posted it on Facebook and things like that. So now I came
Yeah.
down to, we gotta put the fucking dog down, and yeah,
Yeah, that's a bummer for the dog, for sure.
say
Magic
again?
number 23, man.
Yeah,
I
the
said that's a bummer for
23rd
the dog.
current.
Magic number 23, though. Yeah, the 23 current, man. You're right there. You're feeling it. Mr. Pye is in the ideas room. He's backstage in the green room. I think we'll bring him on if you don't mind. But yeah, a little feedback on your story, I guess. I don't know if you're looking for feedback or sympathy or you're just sharing. Um, that's a tough situation, man. I don't know what to do. Like in a situation like that, I think it's important to remember that like the things that other people are doing are. I was gonna bring you on, Mr. Pye, but he blinked out. The things that other people are doing are not like that this. They're not your fault. It's not anything you have responsibility for. That kind of thing. You can. It's a learning experience. It's tough, especially when it's a loved one. but you can offer some guidance. Obviously, once people have kind of let that, that really strong chemical start to fulfill that need for them, because why do people do the things they do? Sometimes it's because they have either a real or a perceived need, and that thing, whether it be meth or whatever it be, it's fulfilling that need. And if they can't fulfill that need in some other way, then they're just going to keep filling that hole with that. So, um, it's not our place to beat people up over what they're doing, because they're living their life, they're living their best life, and they're trying to get something done that's important to them or whatever. Yeah, it's just that there's no easy answer to life, right? Do your best and focus on your own spiritual cultivation, and hopefully the world around you will change. Keep doing good magic, and things will change. Things will get better. But there's no easy answer for those kind of things, man. I feel for you. I feel for your mom especially. And the dog, yeah, the dog's the dog. Yeah, if you could be given a chance.
Oh yeah, we've had the dog for like 6 months. So my grandmom is older. Yeah, I mean, we give it a chance. Like I said, we post it on Facebook. It's not really about the dog. I just wanted to share that. That's just what I've been going through. And I wanted to also say that you pulled me a card, a tarot card, and it was like you're receiving help or something. It was like the lady. Go ahead.
Someone's having bad signals today. So let me try to put you back in the room. King of Hell, your signal went bad there for a second. And
It did go bad. My bad.
I brought you back in. I don't know. Yeah, no problem. Went to Robot. Went to Max Headroom, right? So you were saying I could pull you a card?
Yeah, you pulled me a card, and you said like, oh, you're like, help is on the way or something like that. And yeah, it was because my mom went to, I guess, rehab. I don't know what she does. I don't really talk to her. I haven't really spoken to her in the last 5 years or so. So I don't really talk to her, and I just want to say that I'm fine, and yeah, I'm okay. And I don't really need any sympathy or empathy. But yeah, I go through real life shit like everybody else. And my situation is probably a bit more odd than others, but it's all good.
Yeah. And we're all human. Like what happened with me last month or whatever it was. Last month was 3 months ago. When I was reaching out, man, I was sad. I was having a hard time, and I needed some empathy, some sympathy, some love. And you were there for me. You served as a sounding board and a confidant in this cruel and unjust world. I'm talking about it here. I'm mentioning that Frater Thomas Fund passed into the world beyond. So that was a bummer. It's a huge thing. He was a best friend for 12 years. And definitely, I was reaching out. General energies for you, man. I just pulled the card of Death, which is the 13th card in the major arcana, and it represents great coming transformations, right? So you're right in the throes of some transformative situation. If we count the cards in the major arcana, the 13th card would also correspond with the 13th letter of the alphabet, which is M. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, M, yeah. And it corresponds with the word perseverance, which I just am working on right now, which has 13 letters in it. And so the M can be Mephistopheles, or like metamorphosis, and morte, right, or mori, which means death, right? So memento mori, to remember our death. But it's also, you got to remember, it's also a card of transformation. It does indicate uh, like some sort of great dying away. Um, was the immediate environment, but you can look at it on many different levels too, like
That's
on the
funny you said that.
purely. Go ahead. What did
No,
you
no,
mean?
keep going, keep going.
You can look at it on many different levels, like the physical level is the physical dying away, and it can be the little death too, right? Like an ejaculation of letting the genie out of the bottle, as it were. Uh, in emotional levels, it can be like the end of a relationship or some great transformation. That takes a lot of that's been pulling on a lot of emotional energy for a long time, but then it's dead, so you don't have to worry. I mean, you will continue to worry about it to some extent, but it's also the idea of letting go. And on a spiritual level, it can be uh, as you're crossing the great abyss, right? You're going from one plane of existence into another. So even leveling up in the Matrix is a kind of death. It's a death of the old way of doing things and the old ego, that kind of thing. So, what were you gonna say? You had a thought?
Yeah, this one guy I know associates like that concept with like the mother. So like the numbers, like the 13th
Yeah,
letter being the M and death and blah blah blah.
yeah,
But yeah, like I'm gonna kill this fucking dog, and I don't want to sound like too unsympathetic or unempathetic about it, but I actually lied. I've had the dog since 2020, and I literally took it from off the street from one of the cities in the U.S., you know, the highest murder rate in the world, or the country rather. You know, I took that dog off that city, off the street, you know, and, you know, I've been trying, but I think it's like a sacrifice almost. Like, it sounds crazy, but like, and obviously, like, if anyone knows me, like, this wasn't my first option. This was like an option that, um, and I just want to say this for the people that are watching, because I don't see any of the comments right now, and but I just want to say that this was an option that was displayed to me by other people. Like, this wasn't something that came to my head or like a thought that came from my brain. Um, so yeah, man, and you know the world's fucked up. People don't really talk about that at all. Uh, yeah, the world's really fucked up, and I don't know. That's all I gotta say.
yeah. Oh, you can't see the comments? Okay, so I'll post some of them on the chat. I don't know if you can see them or not. Dominica asks, "Is your mom aware that what you might do with her demon in the form of dog?
Do with
And
here.
if not, might she relapse if she hears about it?"
Is your mom? Well, to answer your question, Dominico, it doesn't matter what my mom says. I know for some people that's a hard concept to understand, but my parents have been dead to me. This sounds a little crazy, but for a while. And I have a great relationship with my dad. I talk to him. He lives in another state, very far away from me, but I talk to him almost every day, at least every week. Um, so we have a great relationship, but as far as him being my father, I really had no father. But I did, and my dad's he's a drug addict as well, but he's a good guy. I fuck with him. I respect him, and he taught me a lot of great things, and so did my mom. But in terms of like that mother, it's very hard to understand if you if you have a mother and father, but I never had that essentially. You see, because when you're a drug addict, you can't also be a mother and a father. You have to be a drug addict, or it's kind of like what they mean when they say you can't serve two gods. Like there is, I mean, you can serve, but what they're saying is you can't be committed to two different lifestyles, right? That's why I met a female recently. She's trying to explain to me what an open relationship is. You can't have an open relationship because life is give and take. We're always on an etherical level. We're always giving and taking. You have no option, and and when it comes to a relation, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. And my mom, whether she relapses or not, that's on her. That's not on me. So yeah, we all have choices and we all make our own choices. I feel like people fail to realize, like how much time we have in the world. Like we have so much more time than we think. It's the things that we make time for, the things that are important to us. And that's what will get done. What is important, what that person values. So if she values things, that's it. That's all.
Yeah, if she valued the dog, then it would be in her life, and she took it on. A lot of people oftentimes, oops, drop my fucking chopsticks, man. Not good. A lot of people sometimes when they're in a disadvantageous situation, they will still take on, an additional burden like a dog or something for comfort, but then they just don't have the means with which to even take care of themselves correctly, and then they bring a dog into the situation. It's never good. I've got a sister who does the same fucking thing. I showed up over the summer or whatever, and she had 25 cats living in the house with her. And I'm like, good God, what are you doing here? You're not making life better for yourself or these fucking cats. And if it were me, and I'm not an unsympathetic guy, but I would get out my big Chinese meat cleaver and just start lopping off heads and fill up a little hole outside. I probably
Okay, that's
would.
horrible. See, because
It
cats
is.
are different. Cats are self-sustainable. You could have 25 cats outside the crib. You know what I'm saying? I have this pit bull. This dog. I have so many stories. I mean, I've done the police and whether they want to admit it or not, I have done the police in my township numerous favors when it came to my mother and that dog, because I was the only one who was willing to get the dog, because I'm not and the dog bit me in my face. Like I have a scar. It's very subtle, but I have a scar in my face from this dog. So it goes beyond, it's very spiritual, for me at least. That's how I see it. And
Sure.
in reality, the dog protected my mom when she was homeless. I mean, I don't want to announce, but you could just look up cities with the highest murder rate, and I'm one of those 10 in there. And so it was dangerous, what she was doing. And so the dog was a spiritual protector, like a physical protector. And so yeah, it was dope. And I think I had so I work at Applebee's, and there's a lot of younger people. Like I'm not usually, like in every situation I'm in, I'm always the youngest one. This is a perfect example. I'm probably the youngest one here, right? Even people watching. And this one girl, and so I don't know if you worked in a restaurant, but like it's very hierarchical. Like there's a hierarchy to things. And the one guy, like our best server, knows my mom very well, right?
Okay.
And so he knows the situation in and out even better than I do, because he's much older. He knows her personally. He's a drug addict himself, or was. Anyway.
Okay.
This one girl was like, "Oh, I'm more mature than you." And mind you, she's 18 years old, 19 years old. And the guy who knows my mother, he's the head server, he hears this, and she kind of goes to him for, how do you say, reassurance. And he goes, I don't know, because he knows me. He knows what so yeah, man. life goes on, and I'm happy with my life right now. I really am. I'm trying to. I don't know if you could relate to this, but I'm trying to save up money so I can move out somehow. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just saving up money as much as I can, working as much as I
Yeah,
can. Right now, I'm off. Thank God. I need it. And
that's
yeah,
good.
that's
Yeah, it's always good to get some downtime. Yeah, keep saving up money. Um, I think if you are in a position where you want to save up money to move out, then uh, take your time, go slow. Like, don't worry about being in a hurry to do it. I know having greater autonomy and greater privacy and stuff like that is important, especially at your age. But the more you save and the more you live with someone who's already maybe paying the rent or something, the better off you are always. You're always in a position with greater autonomy, even if you know you're a part of a family. Like I think you said you might be living with your grandmother, then because just freeing up more capital is always a better choice. You know what I mean? But the death
yeah,
card also advises us to free ourselves from a past that no longer serves us and then proceed towards the future. Yeah, so it's a dynamic like pivot, right? Yeah, so things are changing for you, definitely, definitely. And I didn't want to seem cruel or uncaring about those cats, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know that much about keeping cats, but 25 cats seems a little bit excessive to me.
oh
I
yeah,
think
it's
one would be better, or maybe two. And no, I know that there's against killing cats, and in fact, it's said in Egyptian society, if you kill the cat, you could be put to death. Like that's a crime worthy of death. So that's interesting.
yeah, cats are different. I mean, I feel like cats are a lot easier. So like, they're easier for people to adopt. In
Yeah,
this
they're
situation,
smaller. They eat less. They're fine.
exactly. For a pit bull, I mean, there's a very small demographic of people who could take care of a dog like that, depending on the dog, right?
Right.
I've seen pit bulls who live with other dogs, who live with other cats, blah blah blah, and then in turn, and as a result, they could live anywhere, right? Anyone could take care of this dog. You don't have to be, but for this dog, it's different. Um, I wanted to mention that I watched this Poke Runyon podcast last night, and
Oh yeah, the Hermetic Hour.
it wasn't her. Nah, he how do you say, he like did like a guest spot on someone else's show. I don't
Okay. Wow.
believe you've seen it because there's some references. Do you know Lon Duquette? He made
No.
this. Nah, Poke Runyon describes him as a mentor and a friend. He's the author of this book called Kabbalah Soup or something like this. Something. It's
Uh,
about the Kabbalah.
chicken, chicken soup for the soul, or
No,
yeah, I
no.
don't know.
It's
Go ahead, tell me. What is it about?
I haven't read the book, but essentially it's just about the Kabbalah and like the basic understanding of it. That's why it's called like Kabbalah Soup. It's kind of like this
Okay.
basic
I think I've heard of
understanding.
it, but I've never looked into it. No. When was the interview? Was it a recent thing or was it a while ago?
Nah, so I could link it in a little bit. I have the link.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Send
it's
it to
about
me.
an hour long.
Okay.
Just to warn anyone watching it, you got to skip through a bunch of it in the beginning because like the guy like is talking, it's like not even worth watching. Anyway,
Well, yeah.
Poke Running comes on later.
Pope does well on the Hermetic Hour, but he tends to ramble a little bit. He's a great guy. I love him. His podcasts aren't always the best, but they are good. And I do listen to the Hermetic Hour quite regularly. He doesn't do a show every Thursday anymore. He's getting old, man. I wonder how old he is. I would say that he's approaching 100. That would be my guess. So he's not going to be with us forever. You know?
Yeah, he's gonna die soon. He said he was like alive in the 60s or some shit. Like, I was like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
okay, that's right. He was born in the 40s. Yeah, I think he was born in 46. So that would make him like
Yeah.
78 or
He
something.
was like, I was in the special forces in 1966. I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, 78. I think it's 78. But still, that's about as long as people live these days.
Yeah,
Most
he's an
people.
interesting guy, man. He said like essentially that he was like all ancient religions were trying to contact the mother goddess through the demons. I was like, what the fuck? And he was talking about I wanted to ask you about this. He was talking about using the black mirror for contacting ancestors, and he was like describing it like this. He was like, you can work in Malkuth, but then you can work in Yasad, which is like the spirits. Like you go into the spirit realm. Do you understand
Yeah.
what that is? Like, why does he
Yeah.
describe it like that?
Well, okay, so the two states of consciousness, working from Malkuth would be with like your eyes open, staring into the mirror, and the conscious realm without any real direct um, reliance on your intuition and spirit and stuff like that. But when you switch from the sphere of Malkuth and go straight up the tree of life into the sphere of Yesod, then you're transitioning into the astral. So you're going beyond the veil and you're allowing intuitions and your spiritual vision to take over. And you could even go into um, states of like meditative and hypnotic trance, not trance. In fact, magic is the breaking out of trance, whereas trance is usually the state that people are in all day long. They just go about like automatons, and they do the same things they've always been done. In fact, we have sayings for it. We say, I'm going through the ropes, or I'm just, going through the steps. But being mindful and breaking out of trance is what higher levels of, magic and hypnosis is about. It's about programming yourself to look beyond the sphere of Malkuth, the prime material plane, and perceive beyond the veil, which is a real thing. DMT, they talked about it recently on popular podcasts and stuff, but they have this direct experience, this waking up of higher dimensions and seeing things that they wouldn't ordinarily see. Well, you can attain those same things through hard work and magic and internal alchemy as well. So there's an effect. I forget what it's called, but there's an effect that when you stare into a darkened mirror for a while, then there'll be a shifting. Your vision will shift, like your face will actually disappear, and then it will reappear, and it will look like something else. Like it will look distorted. But what it does is it shocks you back into the present moment because you're looking in a mirror where you know your own face very well, but then suddenly it's no longer your face. And so this dipping out, this disappearance of your face in the mirror, like it literally disappears from the mirror and then reappears as a different face. I forget what this effect is called, but that's
I've
when
done that. I've done that by accident, and it instantly happened, and my face turned into a cat. Like it was still my face, but it was like my face as a cat, like a human cat,
right.
and it was scary. And I think the reason why it works so well is because I was in a room and the mirror was like the entire wall, and it was dark, but it was dimly lit. And
Yeah, that's the way to get it done. And so
and your face turns blank for a second.
Right.
It's odd.
Yeah,
And like, yeah.
Yeah, so when that happens, what that does is it shocks your psychic sensibilities. And what if you study any of Carlos Castaneda's works, he talks about the shifting of the attention point. So the magician, in order to achieve magic, right, to make magic happen, you have to shift the attention point from someplace that it would ordinarily be in the common, prosaic, mundane sphere of just going about your daily life to a point where you're able to perceive into the worlds beyond. And so when that happens, when you get that shift in the mirror, then that will shock your attention point out of its normal assemblage. And then you can do magic. And so at that point in the rituals that Oak teaches, then you assume the god form that you summoned. So if you're summoning Astarte or you're summoning some other spirit, like I work with Yudong Bing sometimes, then you just immediately psychically shift into the persona of being that spirit or having that spirit possess you and speak through you. And so this is a kind of
Yeah,
spiritual summoning,
yeah,
right? It's evocation rather than invocation. So
yeah.
invoking would make them appear in your immediate realm, and then evoking them is bringing them out from within you.
Yep, yep. And that's what Poke Running talks about. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's very odd. I want to address this person in the comments because they're commenting so much. I feel bad.
Okay, which one, Dominico or Mr. Pie? Mr. Pie, if you're back and you'd like to come on the show, man, just jump in there if you've got your internet stabilized. Yeah, which one were you referring to, Francis?
Okay, Mr. Pie. He says, "Why is your name King of Hell? Is that you being? Is that fictitious?
Facetious. It means
Facetious.
like,
I'm sorry. Facetious.
yeah, like inappropriately humorous, like satire.
Is that me being inappropriately humorous? A little bit. I'm naturally inappropriately humorous, but people think I'm funny. I think.
Yeah, no, you've got a good sense of humor.
I serve a lot of tables. I make a lot of my tables laugh, depending on who they are. I won't be inappropriate around
Yeah,
children.
I'll tell you that Master Me of the, I like my Chinese gurus, but he wasn't a guru. He's just a teacher of Tao. But he said that that's the one thing we can cultivate through many of our personality. A lot of people say that you lose it at the time of death, but according to the Chinese tradition, you don't. That the personality you have now is something you've been cultivating through multiple lifetimes. And he says that's why a good character is true gold. But that's the spiritual gold of life, having a good sense of humor, a good personality. So yeah, I think you're well along the way of a master magician.
Oh, thanks. Yo, I wanted to actually tell you this story. I go to the YMCA, and recently I've been using the steam room, right? And there was these two Indian guys, and they had this piece of yarn wrapped around their body like a fucking pocketbook, bro. And the whole time I'm talking to them, and I know they want me to ask about this piece of yarn wrapped around their, like, it's a piece of yarn. Have you seen this?
No, I haven't. I don't get it. What is it?
It was a piece of yarn, like, diagonally wrapped around their body. And they start talking to me, and yeah, I just wanted to know if you ever seen that. It was so funny. I was like, this is hilarious, but I'm not, like, I was intentionally not asking about the yarn, but they both had it. And I was like, what is this yarn? Like, yeah, it's funny. But I'm gonna answer some of these questions here. My name is King of Hell. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I see that I think I'm the King of Hell, like in an allegorical sense, if that makes sense. I don't know if you're familiar with the King of Hell, but his name is Asmodeus, and he's the King of Hell, and he's also in some other books. I believe he's in the Talmud and the Tobit, and he also has a facetious personality, actually. That's like coming from the text itself. Like it's not coming from the text itself. It's how I interpret it, but I think that's how it's supposed to be interpreted. But yeah, I believe, like, I'm the King of Hell, and then I'm gonna get out of hell, and I'm gonna rise up out of there. It's kind of like the story of Sun Wukong. Are you familiar with that, Frank? It's very similar.
Yeah, the Monkey King.
Yeah, a lot of people think that Sun Wukong and Asmodeus are, um, how do you say, synonymous? They're aligned
Yeah,
with one
corresponding
another.
associated. Yeah, they're right. I remember you had mentioned that in the past. That was something I had never contemplated before.
Yeah, so yeah, that's really it. I fuck with Asmodeus. If anyone's familiar with Alan Moore, he has like a story about how he summons Asmodeus or some shit. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think Asmodeus is also seen as the guy from the comic book V from Vendetta. I think that's more like Lucifer, but it's kind of the same thing. But
Okay.
yeah, that's really it. King of Hell. I think it's also, it scares people. It's funny. It's like, come on. But yeah, there's
Yeah,
like,
I did
yeah, a
V
lot of
for
people.
Vendetta. I had those comic books when I was a kid, and the Watchmen series. I
Yeah,
really got into comic books. I used to enjoy collecting comic books. In fact, when I was a kid, I, I would take the bus into downtown LA and go to these wonderful comic book stores. And sometimes the guys that drew for the comics would be there and sign them and stuff like that. So that was really a wonderful thing to be able to access. So
yeah.
yeah, I
Alan
bought a lot of
Moore is
comic books.
a big time occultist, and if you don't know that, a lot of his comics are like inspired by those type of ideas and stuff. Maybe not all of them, but I know V from Vendetta definitely is.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I don't see any other questions here in the chat. Mr. Pie was trying to get on a little earlier, but I guess he was having technical difficulties and he dipped out. The death card can also represent death of something else, like a project, a plan, or a relationship. It points to a time of harvest, symbolized in classical decks by the reaping skeleton. Unless the fruits of summer are harvested, they're lost to winter's harshness, and people do not eat. As the scythe cuts the cords that link us to the past, it liberates us to go forward without fear because we have nothing left to lose. Everything being pruned away is recycled for the fertility of the future so that nothing is ever really lost despite seasonal gains and losses. And yeah, you had mentioned when you saw that effect in the dark mirror, right? You were in a darkened room. You had the mirror, and when your face shifted to another entity, right, like a spiritual being, you had a moment of shock and fear, and that's what helps move the attention point, so that you can have a new perspective and understand the pathways of magic a little differently. Um, I've done some really good magic recently. Like I've had some pretty big gains in things that I've focused on, and there's been blowback too. Like when you engage in a magical endeavor, the minions of darkness definitely rise up to try to steal your light, and you have to be wary of that. So it's something you have to guard against. But other than that, like I don't know, everything's been going good, man. I've work is work. I do a lot of hours at work each week, and yeah, I don't know, not a lot going on, man. I kind of got that big void in my life because I had built a strong relationship with Frater Tomas, and I was looking forward to working really closely with him on this new 100-day challenge. And then, but that's okay, man. I was doing the 100-day challenge before I brought Frater Tomas on board. It's something I kind of launched and came up with, and he wanted to join forces with it. But I was planning 2025. I was planning to go to Pope Runyon's next celebration of Adonia. And so I got back into his Church of Hermetic Sciences website. He does like a kind of behind the scenes web page. And if you're an associate member in his program, then you can access that website. So they opened a new temple. It's called the Agrippa Lodge of the OTA, and they opened it where I think in Pasadena, California, Let me check the main page. I was just reading the article here, and I was thinking about 2020, summer of 2025, getting together and meeting up with some people. I was inviting Thomas to the States. In fact, I was trying to get him to live in my house in Tennessee to like kind of take care of it and have a place to live that's like rent free, you know. Um, and I had just given him that offer the day he died. Man, isn't that a fucking bummer? Um,
Yeah, that's crazy,
yeah,
man.
yeah, isn't it fucking crazy? Anyway, it says here that the Ordo Templi Astartes will be holding its 50th, man, count them, 50th consecutive performance of Adonia, the ancient Canaanite summer solstice rite at Rivendell Hermitage and the Temple of Astarte, 22nd of June. Oh, that's today, man. They're doing it right now.
Yeah, no, I was gonna tell
Oh,
you. I
yeah,
was gonna say they're doing it right now because it's the summer solstice. They're a day late. It was yesterday, but I guess it doesn't for them.
yeah,
They might have their own thing going on. But
yeah.
yeah, I think
And it's also the full.
it's also the full moon, right? So yeah, it's pretty dope. I want to go down there too. I do want to meet this guy. I don't want to die though, or like whatever, like that. I don't want to die like that.
Yeah, there's no
Uh,
physical death. There's Prince Ball who he shouts out. I was at the one in, was it 2017 or 2019 I attended. But yeah, this really great brother, Frater Solomon, he will or he did it the year I was there. He takes on the countenance of Baal, so he dresses up like the great king of drunkenness. And he has this giant brass chalice that's like encrusted with jewels. And they pour like a whole bottle, like a half-gallon bottle of um, Wild Turkey 101 into the fucking chalice, and they mix it. They mix it with honey, so it's like a honey mead. And we'll go around the magical circle, and Paul will yell out, "Who drinks with me?" And then everyone in attendance responds, "I drink with me." And so each time you reach out for the cup from Ball, you take a big swig of that powerful, powerful wild turkey, and then he has to drink with you. So when you hand it back to him, he has to drink some too. And so the guy who plays Ball in the performance, Ball, right, will get the drunkest. But like I was right there matching him drink, man. Like I wasn't backing down. And finally, he had to finish. He had to finish off the chalice, and I helped him as much as I could, man. Finally, I couldn't swim it anymore, and we got so goddamn drunk. But it was so wonderful. There's tons of love fest. It's just an orgy. It's a bunch of. We're all adults. We're all. I think I was the youngest person there, and I'm 50. So that's telling you something. Or no, I wasn't the youngest. The girl who played Astarte in the ritual was probably only like maybe 25 or 26. She was a young actress from Hollywood. And then there was Frater Solomon and Frater Hephaestus and Frater Sithmeth and quite a few people that have been on the Hermetic Hour.
That's so interesting, dude. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So much fun.
Now, is there a lot of people there? Like, what is that like?
I would say there was probably at the height, like people would come and people would go. But like most people, five new initiates were initiated into the neophyte grade. So there was me and like I think 4 other people that got initiated that night. And then there was like the 5 core people that I think lived there at Poprunyan's temple in the canyon. And I think him and like his assistant live at his house. And then there was like the 5 core people of his temple So that's like 10. And then there were probably like 15 other people that just came for fellowship. So there was probably 25, maybe 30 at the most. At the most. Yeah, but he invites you like if you're in the associates program and you pass the first level of material, then that's his home, man. Like he just invites you to his home.
Yeah,
And it's
I
really, really
realized
wonderful.
that
Like,
that's where he fucking lives.
no, yeah, that's his
I
home,
want to
man.
say a few things.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember like someone like came onto your show and then they were like they were saying oh, you join, he was like, you join this and you join that and blah blah blah, and it's like well,
Yeah, he
first
calls
of
me
all,
a joiner.
there's so
Like
many people.
you're a joiner. Like you're a fucking doorknob or something. It's like what? People can
Yeah,
just be
and
one
it's like
doorknob.
that's not the
It's
idea. I
really
think the idea is you join these groups with with the concept of, with that same concept that he was applying to. You get what I'm saying? That same idea is applied to you when you're joining all these different groups. And it's not just the magical information or the occult, it's the dynamics between people within these situations and the things that you learn.
right.
Like, I can already imagine, okay, I can tell, like, I'm on some CIA shit. Like, I'm seeing, okay, this guy mentally, he's here, and this dynamic between these people are here, and I could fit in like this, and so on and so forth. And I had a guy who I knew, I've told you about him before, and what he was doing was, he was doing a lot of different things with like energy and like taking people's energy and taking people's money. Not to say that he was
Yeah.
stealing it or doing anything illegal, but my point is, um, he would he was trying to he was attracting these people. He described it as the energy grid, and he would be attracting these people, and there would be guys, there would be girls, and it would be like a 50-50 kind of thing, maybe even more girls than guys. And he was, in theory, he was trying to manifest what he called the mother goddess, the feminine, the divine feminine, whatever the fuck you want to call it. In physical, like, man, do you know what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah.
it's kind of similar to what you're saying here, but in a different way.
Well, it's recommended too, like the Hermetic Brotherhood. So they recommend that you project an aura of charisma and fascination to the people around you, and then do form like sundry cults and messianic sects. I was talking to Frater Thomas about this, and he didn't really get it. He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do that." I'm like, "But bro, think about it. You join things all the time. You join a restaurant, and you become part of that family when you work for a restaurant as a server. And the more dynamic you can be in a societal, policy, that type of situation, the more quality you grab, the more tips you'll get, the better tables you'll get, that kind of thing. It's not always about those material gains in life, but it certainly is not excluding those. The more money you have, the more generous you can be with other people. The more money you have, the more to people in need, and the more you're able to do that, like to receive that huge level of energy in the form of financial finances, in the form of funding, right? The more you can be a player in the world and enjoy better things for yourself. The magician, he needs his robes, he needs his wands. Those things they're not cheap. You need to set up an altar, you need to have a place to live, you need to buy precious herbs, you need to be able to help out people in certain situations if that be necessary. But first and foremost, I think man's first responsibility, like you just said a moment ago, you're saving up money to do something, to do some greater magic. It's in not being poor and not being a burden on the people around you, but being an added value guy. And I've always liked to think of myself that way. I joined these groups as an afterthought. I didn't do them to learn magic per se, right? I do enjoy the magical teaching and the knowledge provided there, but it's the fellowship. And even in Christianity, Jesus said, when more than one or two people, when more than two or three people are gathered in my name, I am there. So it's like you need a collective sometimes. You don't always need it. You don't have to become absolutely reliant on it. But even this Clown King, this Lord of Team Evil, uh, even he's a member of a group. He's the leader of his own group, Team Evil. And I think he's just upset that I wasn't, I didn't join his group per se or bow to him. Like you heard what he said to me. He said that I should take 3 to 6 months studying the material on his channel before I even have an opportunity to talk to him. And it's like, yeah, no, I
Whoa.
really is that what I should do? It's like, yeah, I don't think
Well,
so.
that's why his group is online, and because, like I said before, if that was an in-person interaction, the dynamics would completely change, you know? And
Right, right.
I think Poke Runyon being so old, it makes things so much more better or like more spiritual because he's at the, he's at the door of death right there. He's knocking at that point there, and I just think
Yeah,
it's
he's
interesting.
I was up on the interaction though. The whole thing was like I said it over and over again when I went on his show. I said this whole thing called the panel verse is brand new to me. And later they turned around, they tried to warp everything I said. And they said that I was brand new to live streaming, that I said that I was brand new to live streaming. I never said that. In fact, I said the
Yeah, it
opposite.
was a miscommunication. That's all.
No, it was just horseshit on their part. They're just fucking lying. I said that I'd been live streaming for years and I did interviews online with single people, but I had never been on a panel where there were
Yeah,
like
you've
100
never
people.
interacted with those people like that before. It's not. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Right. And you've been around, you've been watching my channel. You've never seen me panel bullshit. I didn't even fucking know what it was. I didn't even know it was a thing on YouTube. I thought it was Twitch. I thought the only place they did that was on Twitch.
I understand. Yeah, they're a little odd. I don't know who that guy is or who would follow him or whatever, but
Well, he's got a long history. Like someone posted, Illusion of the Delusion posted a video where like the guy goes deep in examining his backstory, and he's had several channels shut down, and I guess he like pays to have his sub count upped, so he pays companies to somehow support him and give him additional likes and clicks and stuff like that. So yeah, the dude is full of shit. I mean, his sense of humor, the reason I was attracted to it is because I thought he had a pretty good sense of humor, and it was kind of funny to watch him like in his live streams like make fun of people and shit. Like he goes in there and he took like a 30-minute video that I made and did like a 12-hour stream on it.
yeah, no, I saw that.
So if that's
Yeah,
not
dude, that.
if that's not obsessive compulsive, I don't know what it is, man. So
I
last
think
time I did an hour-long video talking about it, I said, now I just gave you a year of material, man.
I think
They had a,
people are odd.
listen to the conversation we had too, where we got it at loggerheads a little bit. Like he couldn't keep up with me intellectually. Like I stumped him at one point where he was just babbling, and so he just immediately shifted it to ad hominem attacks, saying, "Oh, you set me up. You knew all about this. You're full of shit." And like they showed me no trust or love from day one. They showed me just doubt and skepticism, and I thought it was horse shit.
I believe that
Anyway,
there's a great correlation between people's physical health and then like their mental health and then even like their spiritual health. If that even makes sense.
absolutely.
And you could see that guy was mentally out of shape and physically out of shape. I don't know. I think there's something wrong with him mentally. I think he may have something. I also think that you have to understand that he had to protect himself in that moment, because you don't
Right.
know if people are paying him or whatever the case is, right? He had to
Right, right.
protect his image and his likeness
Yeah, and
in that moment.
if nothing else, all of his top keyboard warriors from Team Evil were in the chat room. Like you saw, I think you were there that day. You tuned in for a little while. You came in a little bit late, I believe, but there were like 8 or 10 people there, which is that's the most that I've ever. I think that's about the top type of level that I've ever done on the channel. So
You
yeah,
know,
but
I think it's
it served a
funny.
purpose.
Someone said here in the comments, they said, all fun when aware. Thanks, guys, for sharing out loud, aiding that living being. She just said, just make peace with it before releasing it, because it has been reading your energy. I just want to say, like, I feel like mad peaceful. Like, I've been listening to like peaceful music. I've been like feeling less angry. And like, I see like that's bothering you. That situation bothered you um,
Oh yeah,
a
dude.
little bit. And
Yeah,
I just want to say, like, don't let it bother you. Like, I don't know, I've been, I think my whole life I've been very confrontational and aggressive, and I'm learning to let that go, even though, to be honest with everyone here, I'm a 200-pound man. I'm 23 years old, and, I really don't tolerate disrespect, and I don't want to disrespect anybody either, and I don't, want to offend anyone. So I'm just living my life, man, and I'm happy, and I feel like a weird sense of peace. Like, things are bothering me less, and I'm understanding things a lot more. Like, before I had a hard time understanding others, and now I feel like I understand people well, and I just feel sorry for that guy, to be honest with you. And yeah, man, that's really it. Just try to help people as much as
yeah,
I can, where I can.
yeah, that's great. Like yeah, the anger is sometimes justified. Like we shouldn't just idly stand by and let bad people,
Yeah, let people
do,
fucking shit on
do,
you.
do
Ridiculous.
yeah, you shouldn't do that, definitely not. But at the same time, you should also, be mindful of it and don't do it. Don't get in like a habit of being, trigger happy and just blasting out at people for any reason. I've always been a bit of a pushover. Like I've always tried to strive more for harmony and equilibrium rather than my own personal opinion in certain situations. But at the same time, as I'm getting older too, like I realize sometimes anger is the answer. Sometimes you need to get fucking rattlesnake angry and fight back. But it should be few and far between, and it doesn't really benefit the greater community. And you figure out too, like really early on, if people are like misanthrope and like they're engaged in just vilifying other people's characters just to promote their own character, then they're going to isolate themselves because that's not what society is about. Like we have to be a part of society. We have to live apart from it as well, but we also have to be a part of it. Like in any given situation, I work in a community, I work in an academy. I can't just go around, attacking people. You could never do the kinds of things that he's doing in the real world and survive. The tribe would exile you, you know, and if the farmers aren't going to give you any of the food, if the seamstresses aren't going to provide you with any clothing, if the carpenters aren't going to build you a home, if you run around and you tell every farmer, seamstress, and carpenter that he's an idiot, because he's got a mole on his chin or something, then the fuck you're not going to survive. Humanity has been surviving in the confines of society for thousands and thousands of years. We've been working together. We were born from it. We build our entire lives around it. We get married within it, and we have children. And parents raise children. Those children become parents and take care of their grandparents. And it's an entirely interconnected system. Now there is the random shaman who wanders out into the wilderness and survives on his own for 40 days and 40 nights without food or whatever. But that's few and far between. And those people are not really the forefront of society and never have been. I can understand the satire. I can get it. Like I said, I appreciated his sense of humor. I did a really good, sympathetic review of his content. The first, like after 3 or 4 days of listening to it, it's still on my channel. I haven't taken it down. I've added some commentary to it, and I say you can see how wrong first impressions can be. So I'm all about just live and learn, keep growing. I want to use the channel as an opportunity for people to engage in cooperative spiritual exploration and experimentation. Did you do a ritual? What were the results? Do you practice magic? And how do you go about obtaining results? What are your new emerging definitions of magic? I want to share these things with the community. I don't want to act like I'm an end-all source or an internet guru. I'm just a place for people to meet up and share their experiences.
Yeah, I wanted to say to some people out there, like comedy can transcend like human life, like even a simple children animation like Family Guy, like that can be like you can like incorporate information into that could transcend humanity and entire people overlook that all the time. Like a lot of people, they want to be musicians or blah blah blah. Like music is dope, but like there's other things out there. I just wanted to say that because I feel like some people don't understand that. And you know what I'm saying? Like there's like comedians or authors or whatever, animators, and like they have like these messages that are like far beyond for a child,
because that's another shifting of the attention point, like we talked about earlier, using the dark mirror to make that psychic shock so that you can shift your attention point. When you get into a situation and like maybe you're at work and you're waiting tables or something, or you're involved in some other situation, and something really grinds out the energy and you feel like this toxic seeping away of energy. Like if you throw a little water on your face, that can help shift your attention point. You can tell a funny joke, right? And everybody laughs suddenly. That can relieve all of the tension. Everyone feels better. And they always focus back in on, oh, well, you're living in your feelings. And I'm like, no, I'm not, but you experience feelings. Feelings are a part of the center Dantian. That's the Christ consciousness. Without love and sympathy, there would be no kindness towards the world. So yeah, feelings are definitely a part of it, but you also have to oscillate the energy. It goes up to the celestial Dantian, where you have spiritual insights. When it's at the center Dantian, you do have humanistic, emotional connection, a heart-centered connection with your fellow man. When it's in the lower Dantian, you want to get down to, primeval brass tacks, like firing away with the true magic wand of the magician and getting real magic done. And you circulate those strings through the microcosmic orbit. That's what the raising of the Kundalini is. Obviously, we understand it a little bit different through the Chinese system and the Western Hermetic tradition and other traditions. I honestly failed in studying the Indian systems very much. I just never have been interested that much in the Hindu religion or their interpretations. I don't know much about the chakra system. I just never really looked into it because the three Dantians is much easier. And why should I deal with, what is it, 7 or 9?
Not many people know about the three Dantians. It's funny.
Yeah, they know the chakras, but they don't know the Dantians, which is okay. That's fine. If you want to study the Indian path, study the Indian path. That's wonderful. It's beautiful. But I'm not going to be able to correlate it directly with the Western mystery tradition, which has Keter, Thoth, Tifereth, Yesod, because these things fall right in line with the three Dantians. It's very easy. The celestial Dantian is Keter, right? And its manifestation into the world is Ta'at, or the hidden is Sephiroth. And then the heart center, the center Dantian, what I call the terrestrial Dantian, is Tiferet. And it's the solar energy. It's the sun moving through its 12 zodiac, the zodiacal Dantian. And then the lower Dantian is Yasod. It's the gateway to Mount Huth. And it's right? It's the Dantian, what I call the infernal Dantian. And with the three guardian angels of the body, the lower Dantian is the seat of the infernal archangel, which is a demon. And then the center Dantian, the terrestrial Dantian, is the seat of the magician. It's the archetype of the human, right? The completed human. And then the celestial Dantian is the seat of the angelic force. So you have a demon at the bottom wanting to fuck in the world and blast its way in. And then you have the angel wanting to rise up into higher spheres, right? And then you have the magician, who's got one hand pointed up at the angel above and one hand pointed down at the demon below. And he's saying, as above, so below. They're both up to basically the same thing. People come into these great divisions of good and evil and say, this is good or this is evil. But in the spirit world, that really doesn't apply. Like, it's a very different type of thing, which is okay. Humanity isn't ready to understand that yet. I'm not going to bring that message forward yet. But it really doesn't apply. Like the Catholic Church made very clear distinction. They turned Astarte, this beautiful goddess, the Canaanite goddess, into an evil demon Astaroth, and it's just, it really isn't what's going on there. And until you get past the guardian of the threshold, there's really no reason for us to talk about it, Like if you haven't been initiated, if you haven't passed the veil with complete awareness, then we have to talk about other things. We have to talk about, well, how do you get there? How do you get to the threshold? How do you get through the first gate? And when you do that, then we can start talking about those other things.
It's very interesting. I wanted to say one more thing. I can't remember. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm glad you had to join me today. That's awesome. I was going to try to remember the name of that video. Oh, yeah. So it's called Discovery, and it was back 9 days ago, and it was 2 hours long. And I talked about the Clown King and Team Evil. But I'm not going to mention it again. I'm moving forward. I know that you said it irked me a little bit. I was feeling a little bit miffed. It kind of felt like they tried to take the jelly out of my donut.
No, I just feel like your life is so much. I just want to say this. Like, I'm 23 years old, right? People need to understand, like, I just graduated college, and I want my life to go a certain way, like in a general sense, and like I don't see, like, I don't know how people can't see, like, your life is a lot better than this guy. I don't know, but like, yeah, like, you don't even need to worry about this fucking dude. To me, like, I don't know, he's just a fucking loser.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't know. I mean, spending 12 hours a day on the internet and panel chats, I guess that's one way to live. I was like wondering, with that much time online, like, when do you have time to have dinner and like hang out with your family and stuff? It just kind of baffles me.
I don't know in Canada if they have, like, bro, I don't know. Look, I'm a fucking kid, bro. I don't know if he's like on government assistance or like whatever the fuck you call it, like, right? Maybe it's something like that, or he lives with someone else.
That's possible, like universal basic income.
Is that a thing in Canada? I don't know.
I think it is. Yeah, I think they have like where they can just hang out. I mean, as long as you got a place to live, you can get like a monthly check and food stamps.
That's horrible. I don't agree with that at all. I think being, you have all these different characters within the red pill space, like Rollo Tomasi and Michael Satin, I think his name is, and like Andrew Tate, Fresh and Fit, all these fucking guys, and it's like, you got to make your own way in a sense, that's like the main message, like, as a man, as a guy, like, As a woman,
Absolutely.
you could probably be like, okay, I'll marry someone and then maybe I don't have to work. But like,
Right.
as a guy,
We don't
it's
have to
like,
work a financial job necessarily. Like my
yeah,
wife,
you
for
don't
example,
have to work in to provide for your. You could do whatever you want. You could work this job, you work that. It don't matter how much you get paid, right? But as a guy, you need to.
yeah,
It's
she
more
has
like
herself
you're
up to money.
building up to something, and it seems like when you take that
Right.
equation out, bad things
Then
like
you lose all.
no
You don't
development.
have a root anymore. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Um, like for example, my wife, she hitches herself up to my wagon, and she doesn't. She can take jobs and stuff, like say, but she doesn't have to worry about that. Like it's every month I got it coming in, and I finance the whole situation. I finance my wife and 2 kids, and that gives her the opportunity to focus on the domestic things. She can do those things that need to be done within the family to keep us all provided for, so that my job's all that much easier, like the clothes and the food and all of that, which is a full-time job too. And without like a strong spirit, like when you marry a woman, like in my situation, I know I think you're a little too young to start thinking about marriage, but um, marry a woman. What did Wrangler Star said the other day? He said, "Marry a woman who can pull a plow. Like marry a woman who's got a character that's worth something, that's willing to work." And because like I know that if I get it, like during lockdown, I was doing online classes and I was locked down in the apartment for like 8 months, and I nearly died, man. Like that was so hard for me because I need to get out and move around, and I need to interact with society, and I need to have my private time too, my downtime. But I need to get out there and see people and say hello and make funny jokes and be involved in teams and stuff like that. That's just really a part of the way I grew up. I'm definitely a member of society in that respect. And I find that I thrive in those situations. I thrive in corporate situations, like when there's a boardroom and you're having a big meeting and there's 10 people in there and they're all bouncing ideas around, and you say something that, like I said, like a moment ago, like you do, you find that right opportunity to make everyone laugh, and not just a laugh, but like a really good belly laugh. Or if it's a serious situation, obviously you can't do that, but you find an opportunity to just whip in and bring the light so that all the hard work that was done can be coalesced into a single phrase or even a single word sometimes. But that's real magic right there, man. And people recognize that. They say, hey, not only is this guy on top of it, he brought his A game, but he's been paying attention to everything that's been going on. And we're able to take away, a single gem from our entire hard work and interaction because of a single, like a single comment. Or I'm not just saying you can do that every time, but it does happen, and it happens regularly.
I just feel like life is funnier when you understand, like yeah, guys, we're all here. For example, like I'm a server. Okay, okay, we're all at this fucking Applebee's. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a fucking joke. Like, okay, here's your order. Blah blah blah.
Right,
This is me. Like this is
right.
life. Like I know you're going through. I'm not gonna be fake nice to you. Like I'm gonna be genuinely nice to you. And I feel
Yeah,
like that's what people are missing. Like that understand. Like they don't even want to understand other people. You know. And but yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna
That's a huge
say,
part of your job. If you stay in that field for a little while, you'll realize that like you'll get regulars, and some of them want to be known and they want you to learn about them, and others want to remain private. And you'll start to learn like all of those things, the differences between the two. And like, have you ever seen the sitcom Cheers? It's
yeah, I've
really
seen
old
it.
school. Okay, but yeah, they're like the opening song is like you want to go where everybody knows your name. Some people are like that. They want to walk in and they want to hear people say, "Hey, Tom, you're back." Is it good being a regular? They want that fucking experience. That's what they're paying for. They could go home and eat a fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but they're coming out to have a $5 steak that they're paying $25 for or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I don't want anyone to know my name. I don't like that.
Well, make up a fake name then. You know, like
I
if
know,
you don't
no,
want to
I
be
have
known.
thought about that. I definitely have. But
Yeah, if you don't want to be doxxed, then make up a handle. Say, yeah, you know, say everyone calls me Sam or whatever. You know,
yeah, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
Sam IL. You know, that out of
Oh
Logan.
my god,
You
that's
know,
hilarious. Oh my god. You know, there's this popular artist. His name's, your children probably know him. His name's Kid Cudi. And he was like, yeah, before I
okay.
got famous, I worked at Applebee's and I had like an alias. And I
Yeah,
thought
do
that
it.
was brilliant.
Be a character. Build a persona.
Yeah,
It's
exactly,
a fun thing.
exactly, exactly.
I never worked at an Applebee's. I worked at a Ruby Tuesdays, and I worked at a
Mm,
Logan's Roadhouse.
okay, my mom used to work at Ruby Tuesdays actually for a long time, so that's funny.
I'll tell you the difference between the two. I thought Ruby Tuesdays was a literal hell. Like they have a free salad buffet, but like the management of the one I worked at was so terrible. He called us prostitutes. He said, just think of yourself as like prostitutes that you really, really have to do a service for the customer in order to make your tip. And I was like, fuck you, dude, I'm done. Like I took off my apron, I threw it down, and I said, I'm not gonna use that mentality. I said, I'm here to be, you know, like in any job, I'm there to build myself spiritually. I'm not gonna debase myself to the level of a fucking whorehouse. But then I went to the Logans after that, and they're like, just have fun with everyone. Do you know what they do at Logan's for birthdays? They don't do this anymore. I went back recently and it's totally changed. Like the management has destroyed the Logan's Roadhouse experience. But they had buckets of peanuts on every table, like shelled roasted peanuts, and you throw the peanut shells on the ground. Are you familiar with the idea?
Okay, yeah, wait a minute. Is it Logan or Texas Roadhouse?
There's both. Texas still
Okay,
does it, I
I
think.
have Texas
Logan's,
Roadhouse, and yeah, I think after COVID they got rid of that.
they are the peanuts, yeah. I figured. Plus, it's an
COVID is
advertisement.
literally like fucking Jesus Christ. Like there's before COVID and after. It's literally like
Yeah,
a thing, and I'm gonna stop
yeah.
saying that.
But no, you're right. It was a Mandela shift. It was a really, really big hit to it destroyed so many like small personally owned businesses and middle class income. And it was really a dismantling of the opportunity to go from the poverty class into the middle class and then up into the upper middle class. Like there's never been a pathway to being rich unless you're already rich, right? That's always been that's always been the on the back of the dollar bill. You can see the pyramid, and the eye is separated from the lower pyramid, right? That's called the gap. That's the gap between the royal families, or the super elite, the super rich, and then the upper middle class. The upper middle class is the top of the pyramid that we can reach if we were born in the poverty class or the middle class, right? But essentially, what they did was they made another division right between the middle class and poverty. And they said, okay, no more going across from poverty into no more bettering yourself, essentially. You can no longer start a private business and become successful. So that's what that whole that's what that whole 4D chess was about. It wasn't about any rapidly spreading virus. And I shouldn't say that. That's just my fucking opinion, YouTube. It's speculation, high octane speculation. Don't give me a strike. I'm not giving medical advice. I don't care. You can take your fucking cooties and shove it up your ass, you know, because they really cause a lot of trouble doing that thing. But okay, what was the point? The point was, whenever somebody had a birthday at Logan's, the servers would all get together and just do something totally fucking batshit crazy. Like scream and yell and throw peanuts all over the place and jump up on the table and shake their ass and whoever was like whoever was the craziest at doing birthdays would always be asked to do birthdays. And so it got to be an economy within itself. If you were a really outgoing personality type and you could make a huge show and talk a bunch of shit for someone's birthday, then you would tell other servers, yeah, I'll do a birthday for you, but you got to give me $5, you know? And
That's
when they did,
fucked up, bro.
no,
That's
it's good.
fucked up.
It's good.
That's hilarious,
No, it
though.
was good. Yeah.
Because like we do that. We don't do that, but we do birthdays, and it's like, yo, if someone was like $5, I'd be like, I want to smack this shit. $5, but we don't do all that. We don't. You just clap and
Well,
sing
if
like
you don't want to
whatever.
do it, and it's your job and it's your table, and you want me to do it, then you're employing me. I'm giving you a service, and you employ me.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. But no,
The
I
servers,
wouldn't.
what do servers make? 260 an hour?
Say
What do you
again.
make? 90 an hour or something? No, come on.
Oh, you mean from
I
the
said, how much do
restaurant or
servers get paid an
from
hour? Yeah, from the restaurant,
like
not from tips.
like by the hour? You mean? I'm gonna say five
Yeah,
dollars.
five. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, that's well below minimum wage, though.
Yeah, and then you get your tip. Are you saying how much I make with my tips?
No. Yeah, just per hour. You don't need
Yeah,
to.
no, then yeah, $5, I think. Yeah,
Yeah, that's not
yeah,
true.
and
Where
then
I was in Alabama, it was $1.90.
oh my god, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, we
Alabama,
get a little
Tennessee,
bit. We get a little
Alabama.
bit because it's corporate, but
Okay, Alabama, Tennessee, and Mississippi don't have a minimum wage. They don't have to pay you a minimum wage.
I
So it
I
was under
also work at
$2.
a different restaurant, so I have two
This was
jobs,
30.
and it's very different. It's very different. Um, I forget. I keep saying. Oh yeah. I also wanted to say it's funny how like the older I get, you could see like how spirituality is like you could see it in everything, and like it's not like just spirituality. It's like there's something deeper behind what's happening. Even like just with women, like it's crazy. Like there's like I joined this group, or not a group. I joined a Discord rather, from this guy from this small channel, and it's like about he's like he posted a video where he's like, oh, I gave up on dating, blah blah blah, and like he's like, no girl wants to date me. He said he's never had a girlfriend, meaning like he hooks up with girls, blah blah blah, but he's never, and that is a little bit concerning because even I've had a relationship, but even though I think they're overrated. But he was complaining, and I was like, it's crazy because you could literally use like magic and spirituality to aid you in this journey, but I don't really want to like tell him like what I like but it I think it works, and I think there's like some merit behind it. um you know yeah, I don't know how, like casting a love spell or something. It sounds foolish, but there's like there's some validity behind it, and there's some weight behind these actions that we do. Even if this sounds horrible to some people, I know, but
But
even
works.
if you
Yeah.
write down someone's name, I mean, on your altar and putting it there, like that will do something. Like watch. And but you have to have that sort of system and belief, and also that extra firepower behind of actions behind these rituals or spells or whatever. And
Yeah, it goes through a 3-step process. First, you have the thought, and you should control the thoughts and make them clear and concise and direct them towards your goal. Then you have the words. So you should take those thoughts and speak them into a real cantation, right? We call this inspelling, right? Spelling it into being. And then you have the third part of that, which is taking small actions towards the fruition of that goal. So yeah, it's thoughts, words, and actions must be brought
I actually
into alignment with the wizard's will.
I want to give this little tip to people out there, just to see if it works or not for you. But a lot of the times, this sounds so bad, but you want to put these thoughts into people's heads. Like you want to sometimes share your ideas. Also, I want to say, be careful with your identity. Be careful with the information you give to apps. online when you don't really need to. You could give an alias. Give an alias.
Right.
You know, like
Always
Snapchat or Instagram. Don't give them your real birthday. Don't give them your real full name. And don't give
Right.
people this information as well. Because someone like me,
Right.
I'll take that information and I'll start. Not that I do. Like, okay, anyway.
But yeah, you're
Let's
right.
say
You're right.
you
Always-
have a girl that you like. Not even that you,
Yeah.
whatever, you're interested in, whatever, you know, because there's more beyond
Right.
just like seeing someone at work or at the gym. Like, you really want to get to know this person and be like, who is this person? You know what I'm saying? And who are you? Who are we? What are
Right.
we doing here? But
Right.
anyway, back to the tip. And this is
Sure.
a bit aggressive. Like, I don't think a lot of people could really pull this off, but I literally tell girls like, oh my god, I'll be like, I'm in love with you. Like, yeah, I love you. Like, oh, I love you, bye. And you know, when you do that, there's multiple things you're doing, but a lot of the times where I'll say, I'll be like, I think you're in love with me. I don't know. I think you're in love with me. And I
Right.
think you like me. I think you like me. It's manipulative because maybe they don't like you, right? Maybe it's all in your head. But now you're entering that into their head. And,
Right.
you know, people are insecure. Maybe, you know, whatever. Some people just like that type of attention. It's not to say that this person will fall in love with you or whatever, but
No, and it's fun. And you need to be playful like that. Listen, just to comment on it a little bit, like one I used a lot in my early days in my career of interacting with the female species was just like that, to say stuff like that, and like you know, I really felt like she wanted me to kiss her, you know, and I thinking about it, but at the same time, you know, they want to do it because it's appropriate or whatever, you know, and put those types of scenarios out there, whether or not they involve, you know, the person directly, because then it gets them thinking along those lines. So yeah, it's fun stuff, and like, to some extent, you need to be wary though. Like if you take it from the realm of, are you engaged in seduction or are you engaged in, like, you know, strengthening your relationship on a longer term basis?
yeah, you don't want to harass them.
No,
You gotta
absolutely
know
not.
you gotta know yourself. Definitely people could consider what I do harassment, but the way that it happens, I don't think it is. I'm a young man, you know, they might enjoy that interaction. You
Right,
know,
and that's why I gave the context of my early days in that realm.
yeah, you know, I'm a funny guy. I don't know. But for everyone out there, be careful. And you know what? You don't want people to get obsessed with you. You don't want to bring someone into your life that is a fucking anchor. Because, you know, misery loves company. So people will fucking drag you right down into their bullshit with you, unfortunately. So, you know, you got to be prepared on how to deal with that stuff. And
Yeah,
life
I've
is-
got a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead. You're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed.
Can you hear me?
I can now. Yeah, can you hear me all right?
All right, yeah. Well, did you say you have some questions?
Yeah, I had a couple of quick questions if you still got a little time.
Yeah. I'm just, yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask you about, so this whole thing, like the Permaverse and that's all brand new to me. But there was another idea I had really heard of before. Like I heard of on the periphery, but I had never done any research or investigation into it. And it's just this idea of, again, mentioned anger. It's like the soul well. And so, do you have any this whole paradigm of the
Wait a
world?
minute, Frank. You keep breaking up. I'm trying to go into a better spot.
Yeah, no problem. Might be on my side, but so my question is, if you can hear me, is do you have any familiarity with this like periphery type idea of the world as the soul trap, right? The whole thing about what they call it, the soul well or being entered into life and being forced to reincarnate. And I really don't know much about it. That's why I'm asking if you have any experience with it.
So the question was, I kind of understood it. No, I guess not. I mean, I would say I know as much about it as you. I mean, yeah, yeah. You have. Are you talking about like people describing it as a prison planet?
Yeah, that kind of thing, but it seems a little more nuanced than that. Like, I'm not exactly sure what they're getting at, but yeah, somehow, like the hell realm, the soul
Oh yeah.
well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait a minute.
I haven't really heard these terms before.
Wait a minute. Yeah, no. That is also to answer that guy's question. That is why my name is like that. I do believe. I do actually take part belief in that we are in hell. This is not to an extent. Yeah, the Wu-Tang Clan has a song about this as well. That's who put me onto that idea. But besides that, I know there's this one old lady, I'm forgetting her name. She's an old white lady. She talks about this as too, but she describes it as a prison planet, which I guess, like, yeah, this could be the hell realm. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm being punished, and sometimes I feel like this world's fucked up. But as the older I get, I feel like I'm figuring things out more and more at like a rapid pace. So, my opinion changes all the time, honestly, on that. But we could be, I do believe that the God that people serve, known as Jesus, and I think that is Satan, or Yaldabroth. I do think that, or Asmodeus. Uh, what I mean by that is the trickster God, and then the God who made us. There is a God above that. I do believe that. Yeah, I have some sort of. That's more like Gnosticism. Gnosticism.
Yeah, I was thinking that it all starts with like the Apocrypha and Gnosticism, right?
Yeah, there's this one lady that dude's probably getting it from. I forget her name, but she's like really old and she's been doing this shit for a while. And like she's on Instagram sometimes. Somebody probably knows who I'm talking about. It's
Okay.
this old white lady. I used to follow her on Instagram a while back. But yeah, that's the only other person I've heard talk about that concept. Are you
Okay.
familiar with this guy called Nature Boy?
No. Is he a YouTuber?
He is. It's funny. I've had 2 conversations with him, and he's actually met my mother. Um, we had a really, really good conversation because he's from New Jersey as well, and he
Okay.
actually grew up like 10 minutes away from my college, which is crazy. So, and excuse me, he was
He's a
talking
black
about
dude.
like he's a black dude, yeah, and he was talking about like the buses, and I used to take the bus, guys. I used to like, and for some people that might sound normal, but like if you take the bus where I live, like that's like weird. And he's talking about the 606 and the 604 and the 609 bus, and I
Oh,
forget what
he got killed.
say
He
again.
got sentenced. He's in prison
He
now. He
got
got
sentenced to life in
rape charge.
prison. I was following the case. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm very confident. If not, I mean, if you don't know, the American justice system is completely out of whack. And there's,
Oh, it's
uh,
fucking corrupt. Yeah.
have you ever, Metallica, right? And I believe in 1988. Yeah, in 86 they did Master of Puppets. In 88 they did And Justice for All, which is the Lady Liberty
Yeah.
with the and then there's like money falling out everywhere, and the broken scales, and then she has like a broken sword. It's pretty dope. But yeah, that's basically what the justice system. There is no justice. That is a scam. I also believe marriage is a scam. I don't believe that for a man. If you're a man in America getting married, I'm being very specific. Do not get married.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's too
No, yeah,
late,
you're out of your
guys. We do not live in that
14.
society anymore. And if you
No,
and
that's right.
be wary, motherfuckers out here. They think they know some shit. They want to get married. Oh, I'm gonna get married to my girlfriend. I go, I can tell you've been through nothing. I've watched my dad go through 2 divorces. One when I was like 8 and one when I was 22. And me and my dad were very close during his second divorce. So I've seen a lot of that shit. It does not end well. My father
No,
was
unless they change the terms, that it's geared against the man in every situation. The woman gets all the money, gets half the
in
property, gets
every
everything.
beyond marriage. Anytime a man versus a woman goes against each other in court, you're gonna get fucked over 9 times out of 10, depending on the state where you live. Okay.
Yeah. They have laws in place now to protect women, and so yeah, it's not fair.
Oh yeah. But what happened to equal rights? We're all fucking equal, right? It's a joke.
The burden of proof is on the man. The burden of proof is on the man every time now. If a woman just cries foul, you go to jail until you can prove that you didn't do anything.
And so anyway,
And
this
that's
guy,
just the way it goes. Yeah.
Nature
So
Boy,
go back-
right?
Yeah. To get back
He
to Nature
talks-
Boy. Yeah.
He talks about having. He had a fascinating experience actually, where he was looking at the moon, and he was kind of doing. He doesn't realize this, but he was. You can scry into the moon through water. Like you could have the cauldron of water underneath the full moon, and you could scry into that. And he was
talk about this.
exactly.
All throughout their poetry.
Exactly, and he was talking about this. And now, at the time, I didn't have, but now I realize there's value behind that part of the story. Him gazing into the full moon, and he goes, "I realize we're in hell." And he has this belief system, and he has the same thing you said about Christ. 2 or 3 people, I'm there. He has multiple wives, and yet he got a life sentence, which I believe will be appealed. If anyone followed that case, you know that was he should not have gotten a life sentence. It was justice for him to get his ass sat down. I won't lie, he was semi-abusive to his wives, but for him to get a life sentence for that, any man in America right now should be scared because of shit like that happens. I've had the same shit happen to me. People try to ruin my life over nothing, and the system can only be so corrupt. The system can only be so corrupt. I'll be honest with you. I'm not completely delusional. The system can only be so corrupt. Thank God I had enough evidence, which is a lot. I had a lot for me to get out of the trouble I was in. But I mean,
And the American justice system it's designed to manufacture crime, number one, and it's designed to create a prison class of servants that are supported by the state and kept on lockdown and work menial jobs for the state. So,
and listen, if it wasn't for motherfuckers like me paying $10,000 for a lawyer, there wouldn't be any justice system. You understand?
right.
There would be no money. No one would want to be a fucking lawyer. No one would want to be a judge. Because we don't select the judges, guys. They select them. They're up there. They do whatever the fuck they want. And listen, from animal service, like I've been through so much in my life to an extent when it comes to dealing with government entities.
Yeah, it's not good.
They don't do anything. The animal shelter
It's
in my
called-
town, they don't do anything. The cops, they don't do
Yeah,
anything. It's ridiculous, bro.
Oh yeah, it is. I know. I was back just recently. I was there for I don't know how long, 2 months, and experienced the whole thing firsthand. And it's just an absolute fucking nightmare. Like,
And you know
I
what?
live here.
These type of ideas, this is what creates men coming together, like brotherhoods, like only strictly men groups. Because and it's not even on some gay shit. It's like, yo, dude, you really only have you, your family, and your friends. That's it in this life.
Yeah.
There's no one else. There's no justice system. There's no police station. That's all made up. That's for people to get paid. That's for people to have jobs. That's for, and I'm, like you said, I'm thankful for this society to keep on going. I'm a part of society. I like to interact with the public as well. I think, and that King Stephen guy, perfect example. Why of people who are out of touch with society. That's the type of people you get. So we need society. But you know what? You know what else we need? We actually need a lawful justice system. We actually need police that are policing. We actually need systems that are systeming, that are working, and we're coming down to literally nothing. We're coming down to nothing, and soon things are going to change. It's obvious things are going to change. If COVID didn't prove that, then I don't know what else will. But society as we know it now will be different for my children. My children will not live in a society like this. This is my belief. I'm not sure, but this is my belief that we will not. Society will be different.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. I hear you. It's total horseshit. And good men need to stand up and take action, right? Like I was talking about a moment ago, you go from those thoughts, bring them into words, and then take those small actions that will bring you closer there. Hey, we've got Mr. Pie backstage now. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll see you next time.